I think it's interesting that the audience watching Signs of the Time is going through the same journey of discovery that we went through in actually making the film. You find little pieces of information about Dummy Hoy, and you find little pieces of information about Bill Clem, and it's kind of a roller coaster ride of, he did it, no, he did it.
We started this film thinking that we were gonna come up with who invented hand signals, but through the process of doing it, it becomes much more complicated than that. There are multiple viewpoints on this subject. We didn't want to just show what the Hoy people thought. We wanted to say, okay, well, Clem has this on his plaque at Cooperstown. Let's tell his story. What did he bring to the game? As well as all the other characters that are out there surrounding this whole mystery of who invented hand signals. So we wanted the audience to go on that ride with us.
At the very end of the film, it's very similar to what the audience is experiencing, and that is Dummy Hoy is the seed of the idea and probably the inventor, but Bill Clem was really the emulator of that idea, or he was the one who kind of spread the word about umpire hand signals.
When I started working on this film, umpire signs to me were just an ancillary part of the game, but now I see how important they are.
You think about the impact that they have on the game, how much the game grew because of that simple innovation. Without them, fans may not have gotten into the game as much. You look at how big that becomes. Hand signals are huge.
To me, umpire hand signals, I think, are probably one of the greatest contributions to the game because they are the thing that connect fan to field. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
These signs are eternal, understood by nearly everyone, regardless of their background or their knowledge of baseball. They are indelible. To me, the unintended consequence of things is always fascinating, but what is most fascinating is the blindness of historians who insist on such a different level of credibility.
If they're looking for a newspaper article or some sort of a letter or an interview with somebody, unfortunately, that doesn't exist. Even in the case of Sam Crawford, you know, they're skeptical because the interview happened 60 years after the fact.
They're asking for something that simply can't exist, and yet logic says, of course. Anyone who argues that he doesn't deserve to be in Cooperstown because of that is absurd.
Newspaper reporters were reluctant to interview him. People were reluctant to speak to him because he was deaf and he could not speak. I think was one of the reasons why he wasn't given credit for it. I think it's as simple as that. If Hoy can be proven to have invented one of the most important contributions to baseball, he should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Don't wait. It should be done right now.
Opinion is what it comes down to at the end of the day. I don't think it's arguable that he had a huge influence on the creation of hand signals, and so far he hasn't been recognized for that, in my opinion.
If Hoy visited every team for 14 years and introduced American Sign Language to all those players, you can argue till you're blue in the face that he didn't or doesn't deserve a place in the origin of sign, but that's ridiculous. Of course he did.
Here was a time when baseball really started to become popular. Audiences really began to grow at the very time that Hoy was at his most popular. The fact that Hoy, through necessity, had to come up with these signals, the combination of those things, I think, were the catalyst for the science of baseball.
Because of the type of person that he was and because of the way that the media was in terms of coverage and how fast things like that were picked up and conveyed, it took a while for that to get around. And I think other people like Bill Clem and other characters started using the hand signals just kind of because it was in their peripheral. I think that peripheral was developed by Dummy. He really left a legacy that allows everybody to really enjoy the game.
How many times did he talk his coaches and his teammates? Each time he went to a team, he probably had to have a moment, you know? And that perseverance and thinking outside the box. Thinking outside the box is creating an idea which creates a product, which creates an industry, which creates an institution, which fears thinking outside the box. So you've got to protect thinking outside the box. And so you've got to protect his perseverance, his creativity, his insistence that this is not going to stop me, this is going to help.
If you're going to, give credit to Dummy Hoy, how do you do that without taking the credit from Bill Clem? One of the struggles that they're going to have moving forward, if they ever want to give Dummy Hoy the recognition that he deserves, are they going to take it down his plaque and then change the wording on that so they can say that Dummy Hoy was the inventor? I don't think they can, because it says they made a mistake, maybe.
Well, if Cooperstown is what it is, which is to honor those people who have contributed to baseball's immortality or this sense that it is the national pastime, then of course he should be there. He changed baseball forever. What are you going to do? Not put him in Cooperstown?
Ready? Here we go, and action!
5 years from now, if I were to look back on the making of this film, what I'm going to remember is the camaraderie. That was, when the shoot day was over, sitting down and playing cards with a bunch of guys. It's about the memories you make with your friends on the set.
In looking back at the film, I'm really proud that we were able to make a film that speaks to the baseball researchers and people who are interested in facts and figures, but it also speaks to the people who identify with character and emotional ties to these people and what they brought to the game.
After working on this project and listening to everybody's opinion, basically the most heartfelt person that we talked to that I felt gave the best case for who really invented the hand signals was Joan, Dummy's granddaughter. In her heart, she truly believes that to be the way it is.
Everybody likes the story of the unsung hero. Deep down, everybody wants to say, okay, Dummy Hoy was the inventor of umpire hand signals. I think he is an inspiration to countless people in the deaf community that came after him, for them to be inspired to succeed.
This film will always remind me that you can't always just think you know what's going to happen and know what the end of the story is until you actually travel the journey. It just really came down to that basic need for human communication, which will never leave us.